Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about security ethics, and this class is CSAT 4850, Computer and Network Security, taught by Dr. Sun. So the project outlines of um, this security ethics is going to be 5 parts. First one is introduction, that will briefly discuss about the definition and history of security ethics. The second one is the standards for international organizations and also the frameworks that ensure security and ethics are going hand in hand in protecting data integrity of these international governments and organizations. Third one is dilemmas. So we're going to talk about some of the case studies that spark controversial topics about security ethics. And the fourth one is going to be security best practices for organizations again and businesses as well as individuals. And the last part is conclusion. It's going to recap everything and discuss more on future directions of security ethics. So for introduction, security ethics has security and ethics that can be broken down to security means that all the measures that get taken to protect people, information, and assets from harm or loss or damage. And ethics refers to a principle and standard of all the behavior that guide your moral decision making. So combine these together, we have security ethics that are a set of guidelines and principles that follow the rules, standards, and law enforcement that has all the control mechanism with employees training and all guided by a moral compass. So when we talk about security, we all know about the CIA triad. That means confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The CIA triad is a fundamental concept in the field of information technology. These three components work together to ensure that information is protected from unauthorized access, manipulation, or loss. And from an ethical standpoint, it is important because it helps to ensure that sensitive information is handled in a responsible and ethical manner. So moving forward, we're going to discuss about security in history. So in the early civilizations, we have these three famous ancient documents that are the Hippocratic Oath, the Art of War, and the Arthashastra that all discuss about security, national security, and also espionage and intelligence that deals with a lot of aspects of warfare and the purpose of keeping an ethical code to security. So I'm going to talk about security in the 80s. Why? Because this is the time when computers were first introduced to the general public, but there are severe lack of ethical guidelines to help people guiding their use. And there are some incidents that happened because of these lacks of guidelines. So we're going to move forward to the first incident, which is called the Therac 25. Therac 25 is a radiation therapy device designed for treatment of cancer patients. However, there's a lack of software management, and that's a software bug that makes the device administer massive radiation overdoses to patients and resulted in 6 cases with serious injuries and fatalities. So the FDA later found out that the company did not have a proper reporting system to follow up, and in 1987 they shut down all the machines. The second incident is the ARPANET crash in 1980. That is the US Defense Department predecessor to the internet. It went down for 4 hours because of the two interface message processors called the IMPs failed to communicate at the same time because there's the network control program protocol that is responsible for data transfers over a network. It was affected by a software bug, and the software later consumed all available system memory and crashed the entire system. So it is a major turning point for all ARPANET developers that results in redesign of the whole network software architecture. And this result in the development of TCP/IP, which we use today, are much more compatible and modern and also more reliable for human. The third one is the Morris 1 incident. So Interestingly enough, this Morris worm is a program released by a computer security student to test out an automated computer worm, but it got out of hand. So this worm started from an MIT computer and rapidly spread across the internet, resulting in widespread system outages and crashes. The worm infected several private research centers, also universities, that made up the early national network of the whole US. Although the worm did not cause any data loss, but it caused significant disruption to all the essential operations of the military and university, and communications were delayed for several days. And network community worked to understand how the worm operated and how to get rid of it. So institutions have to pay a lot to clean up the system and then reboot the system to make it put up again. So it was hard to determine the exact cost of the damage, but it's around 100,000 to millions of dollars. So following up with these incidents, Brookings Institution, IBM, and the Washington Consulting Group formed together in 1985 to create the CCE, also known as the Coalition for Computer Ethics. And they underwent another rebranding in 1992, and they are called the Computer Ethics Institute today, the CEE, the CEI. And in the same year, they developed the 10 Commandments of Computer Ethics. They're shown below here. So basically, this is the 10 general rules of any computer professionals that have to follow for ethical purposes. One of the major rule is they should not use a computer to harm other people in any circumstances. And all of the other ones basically revolves around using a computer ethically and do not use a computer to interfere with anybody's files or using the files to cause harm to individuals and organizations. And then there are some security standards and frameworks were established all around the world to follow with the ethical guidelines of security. So we have the NIST cybersecurity framework, which identifies all the core functions of security, which are identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. There are also UNESCO recommendation of ethics of artificial intelligence, and it was released on 2021. It's the world's first ethical standard setting tool on the topic because of the rise of AI. And then there's also the IEEE Code of Ethics that state all the ethical conduct that a engineer, professional engineer should conform to. There's also the ISO IEC 27001 and the PCI DSS that deals with electronic payment card, and also the HIPAA that is a law to regulate privacy and security of personal health information. So the ethical dilemmas of security ethics. We have the 3 case studies here. First one is the one from National Security Agency that is a former NSA, as known as NSA contractor, Edward Snowden. He resigned from NSA and later on published classified documents to the public. And one of the documents says that the NSA surveillance programs, which is one of the government surveillance activities that spy on individuals of the United States. And this fact ignited a global discussion regarding the scope of government surveillance, and it sparks the argument between transparency and secrecy, and how should government govern keeping everyone safe, but not infringing with individuals' privacy. And the second case study is Apple Incorporated versus the FBI. So in 2016, FBI requested that Apple provide access to an iPhone that belonged to a shooter, a criminal. So Apple actually rejected this request because it infringed with their laws of protecting user privacy. But later on, FBI managed to open the iPhone. So this actually sparked another global discussion about how should law enforcement should have access to certain encrypted information without infringing on user privacy. And also we have the last case scenario, which is Meta platform, as known as Facebook. In 2018, there's a scandal between Facebook, Cambridge Analytica, and its user. So basically, Cambridge Analytica is a third-party application that have been allowed by Facebook to collect millions of data from its users without their consent to manipulate an election. So all of these sparks really controversial topics around security ethics and how companies should follow the rules of keeping protect user privacy, as well as conforming to the government rules at their country. So moving on, we get the best practices that every organization and business and might as well individuals should follow to ensure that they have the best security, as well as following ethics. So we have the first one is getting a clear, transparent policy, and also trainings that follow the CIA triad and follow the rules. Second one is secure parameters and connections. That means individuals and organizations should monitor their networks and detect any potential attacks, as well as regularly review and update security policy. And then they should trust, but also always verify. The third one is employ access control mechanisms, and also encrypt sensitive data, and also manage risk and anomalies using tools, pen testing, as well as other security assessments. And last but not least, is develop recovery plans should there is any attacks, and then there's backup, and also recovery methods. So looking into the future, we have the rise of AI, the rise of social media, the rise of cloud computing, also quantum computing, and new cyber threats. These are all parts of technology development that going into 2024 and also 2030. And new technology come up, so that's why new security protocols and new security regulation is going to change and adhere to the new technology. So it's our job to continuously update on these technologies and establish our plans and policy according to. So in conclusion, we need to know that security ethics is the moral compass of the security industry. It guides how we develop and use security technologies and practices to protect humans, especially their values and interests. There's absolutely difficulty in discussion around security topics, but it's possible for all of us to contribute to the promotion of ethical behavior to take advantage of all the opportunities, all the development that technology has to offer in the future. And the purpose of having a strong security ethics background is to ensure that security technologies and procedures are in line with the values and needs of the individual and the organizations as well. And then they can contribute to the development of a more prosperous society, which that we can live with technology respectively. Thank you for listening.